Hello everyone, this is Bhavik Chokshi. Today's video is to discuss on your exam strategy as well as a few tips that you should remember for paper 6 of the CA final new course syllabus, that is an open book exam. So this being a fairly new exam, this is just a second exam, there is a fair bit of nervousness and uncertainty, understandably so, within students. We'll just discuss quickly a few tips that you can remember and that should be greatly helpful in handling your open book exam. Okay, so we'll discuss 5 important tips that you should remember or try to implement in your main exams. Should be very helpful. Okay, first of all, you do not carry too much of reading material. Now there is a natural tendency that you have an open book exam to carry the entire stock of books that you have. Do not do that. Take only those books which you've studied before, where you understand what to refer in case you are stuck up. There's no point taking a random third-party reference book. Ideally, the ICAI material and the class notes from which you have studied, the class notes as well as ICAI material from which you have studied should be good enough. Please invest your time in understanding the index properly. A fairly good index does very good in terms of referencing the material that is there. So in case you don't have page numbers or get someone to write page numbers and make an index quickly so that you can easily find the contents in case you were to get stuck in a particular point. Do not overcarry study material. ICI stuff, your class or your own notes with a good index should be good enough. Okay, apart from that, now, remember the second tip is your paper is going to be extremely lengthy. It would get a bit intimidating at first, but remember, it's an open book exam. It is a case study based exam. You'll have a fairly long paper. Last exam on an average, an exam paper would be around 30 sides. This is not to scare you, but just to mentally prepare you on the length of the paper. So, the reading time that you have will definitely not be sufficient in reading through the entire course or the entire question paper. So a lot of students in May 18 wasted a lot of time in selection of their case study. I can understand that you would want to select the best case study, but remember 40% of your main exams is an MCQ exam. You should go through the paper, I would say on an average, the reading time of 15 minutes and another 10 to 15 minutes at max to select a question, but you then have to start. In case you are stuck, the best strategy is to start with the question which has the maximum number of MCQs. Remember, you'll have to attempt 2 questions of 50 marks each, within which there will be various small sub-questions. The question which has the maximum MCQs is the one you should target at. When you're reading, just have a rough sense, just calculate on how many marks in each question, go into the MCQs and the fill in the blanks, and that is where you can easily score. Try to start with the first question as a question which has a maximum in MCQs in case you are unable to select in time. So try to select the maximum MCQ questions. There might be certain questions which might have a single subpart of around 15-20 marks. Avoid such questions. They would be particularly difficult. Try to attempt those questions which have smaller sub-questions, more sub-questions, but smaller sub-questions are generally more easy to score and more easy to solve. Okay. The third part is the slightly difficult part. You need to remember that you need to refer the book only when you are stuck up. Do not refer the book for reaffirmation of what you have written is correct or not. You will not have enough time to complete the paper. Try to refer the book only in case you are stuck. You have been solving all papers without a book. This is like any other paper. You try to solve it in the normal manner as if there is no book. In case you are stuck up in a particular point and you are clear on where that is in your notes or where that is in your institute's material, try to jump to that and refer to that quickly. On an average, I would strongly recommend that try to solve approximately 40% without reference. Keep a tab on yourself. Otherwise, in the first case study, you will end up spending an inordinate amount of time referring the book at every question and you will not be able to complete your paper in time. So in case you are comfortable, try to solve directly. If you are stuck and you are aware on where a particular question is in or where that concept is in your study material or notes, just jump to that quickly. That's absolutely fine. Do not enter into a fishing expedition on flipping across pages and finding where a particular concept is. In case you do not know where it is, just circle it off. In case you have time at the end, you can then refer the other parts of your study material. Okay, the next part is MCQ solving. Okay, now Institute has 2 ways of asking MCQs. It can be with reasons or without reasons. Unlike CPT, you do not have any negative markings over here, so that is a bonus for you. Okay, so typically a 1 mark MCQ does not need to be given any reasons. In case you have more than 1 mark, 2 or more marks for an MCQ, it is advisable to give the answer for the MCQ and also show the working or give the reasons on why you select a particular option. Remember, you should write the MCQ solution in a capital form. So when you select an MCQ, let us say you select MCQ A, write it in capitals, write it as A in capitals. Institute is very clear. If you read even in the question paper, they say the MCQ solutions have to be written in capitals. In case it is more than 1 mark, you need to give reasons. Okay, you do keep an eye on the watch. It is going to be a very bulky paper, close to 30 sides on an average is what you should expect, which means you are going to invest a lot of time in reading. Remember, it's a 4-hour question, a 4-hour exam. So part of your time will go in reading, but you'll have to solve and there'll be more questions. So on an average, just keep the rule of 1 mark should equal 2 minutes. So if a question carries around 4 marks, well, it should be getting done in 8 minutes. If it carries just 2 marks, it should be getting done in 4 minutes on an average. I'm not saying you put stopwatch along with you when you're solving the paper, but keep a broad tab on the time, on how much time is getting invested. Otherwise, you would run short at the end. We have kept close to 40 minutes on an average in the entire paper for reading. So that would be a 240-minute exam with another 15 minutes for reading. Out of the 240, we have kept around 40 minutes on an average, which will go for reading from time to time. So when you're solving, that is around 200 minutes. So that is roughly every mark carrying 2 minutes for its weightage. So these are the 5 rules. Please try to stick to them. Do not overcarry your material. Try to select, don't waste a lot of time behind question selection. Try to select a question which has a maximum MCQs to start with as a first question. Third, when you're solving an MCQ, try to do most of the stuff without the open book. Fourth, when you're solving an MCQ, see if it is carrying more than 1 marks, then do give reasons. Write the MCQ solutions in capitals. Keep your eye on the watch. Ensure that you have enough time to solve the paper. Okay, so this is on exam tips. We'll just quickly run through the pre-exam strategy. Remember, pre-exam tips will differ from paper to paper. You need to look at your study paper and then decide. We'll be uploading a separate video soon on the GFRS paper, but this would differ from paper to paper. Okay, the material that you should refer for the 1.5 days roughly that you have before the paper is the institute material on the elective. Is the institute material on the core paper. So for GFRS, that is paper 1, financial reporting. For international tax, that is paper 7 on direct tax. Refer the core paper for the common topics. Then ICI would have issued case studies. Remember, there has been a mock exam which is done, and there is also the May 18 exam paper. I would recommend you to go through the case studies, at least solve 1 or 2 of them on pen and paper. Hopefully you would have done it by now. This is honestly very late to do it on pen and paper. Still, just try 1 or 2 properly so that you do not get intimidated and lost in the main exam. And lastly, familiarize yourself with the open book, the index, the layout, the contents on the placement of where in general you have to search in case you get stuck up, and that should be it. Okay, just before we end, a couple of things. Remember, it is a new exam for you. It is very, very normal to get intimidated and feel a little nervous, but it is going to be an extremely simple paper. Remember, you have the book with you. You have 40 marks which the institute has said is going to be asked in terms of MCQs. That is without negative marking. You have the book. You have 4 hours. You have MCQs for 40 marks. Well, you can't fail. You have to struggle to fail. Be confident. Be positive. It is a new exam, but it is going to be a very good exam to write. So please study well, be focused. Wish you all the very best. Do well. If you like the video, please do share, like, subscribe. Thank you very much.